The journey's tough. It should be tough because here's what happens. If it comes easy, you don't value it. Everyone, welcome to today's Coaches Clinic. Tim Madden. The first year I was a recruiter for the military, I struggled so bad, like horribly, like I was horrible because I didn't know what I was doing and I wasn't trained. And what happened was I did what most people do who are trying to be successful. You go ask someone else who's successful and say, hey, how do you do it? And when I was a recruiter, here's why, and I know this will help you in the interview. When you're in an interview or doing something with sales, etc., when people would have appointments, they would come in my office and I'd be telling them, Angie, how great the military is. The military is so great. You get a $20,000 bonus. You get job training. Juliet, let me really confuse them. You can pick up 400 jobs. When do you want to leave for boot camp? All these things. So the reason I'm saying that is that's what I was doing before. You can equivalent that to your interview if you're going in there saying, you know, I'm so great the whole time. But when I went and spent a day with the most successful recruiter in the region, here's how the way they conducted their interviews is he would walk in and say, hey, people join the military because of these 5 reasons, Barb. Education, training, da-da-da-da-da. Or maybe service, because their dad served. Hey, what really motivated you to come in here? Service, great. Stop selling. Process the paperwork, right? This guy's joining because his dad's in. Let's not overwhelm him with all these decisions. The reason I'm saying that is it's just like that in the interview. A lot of you guys want to ask all of these questions or go into detail about all of this stuff. That doesn't matter, and most of the time just confuses them. Guys, you're going to learn about culture as you go through. No need to ask cultural questions. You're going to feel the experience when you go through the interview. Are you allowing yourself to see the opportunity? Here's what I mean by that. If we're feeling a certain way all of the time, like, oh my God, nothing's going anywhere, nothing's happening or whatever, maybe that could be blinding you from stuff that is right in front of you. So it's really hard to see opportunity too when we're focused so much on stuff that doesn't serve us and doesn't help our situation, okay? So interview doesn't work out, we're trying to blame people. Hey, if you haven't read a book about extreme ownership, you need to read that book. That's a phenomenal book. He says, your life is up to you and you alone. And I believe that's true. And I worry about things that I can't control. So you've probably heard me say this analogy too, right? What kind of a view do you want? What kind of career do you want? What kind of a life do you want? If you want a life when you're on top of a mountain, it's not easy to get there if you've climbed a mountain before, especially with the heavy backpack. Remember, if you're overcoming rejection, here's another thing I think of. I have to be closer now, but it's always one more time and one more time. Because here's the thing, what happens in life. If you get something that you're not supposed to get, what happens? Guys, it freaking disappears. It disappears. You win the lottery, what happens? Everyone, they go broke. They went from making $50K a year, Juliet, to getting $50 million. You're like, how can you go broke? You got $50 million. As the universe has a way of just taking that stuff away super quick. It just does. But here's what happens for you guys. When you go out and actually seize the opportunity, the universe says, hey, leave Barb alone. Like, she worked hard for this. And I do believe, guys, if you work hard for stuff, people can't take it from you. Do you guys celebrate when small things happen? I can't tell you. It's the biggest freaking impact, man. The value of building relationships. Just like I said, if you have one conversation, Angie, every 2 weeks or 4 weeks, one with someone that you don't know, who's in a position that's higher than you, that's maybe the same industry, over time, having those people are going to help you a lot. You're vetted by a recruiter or a hiring manager, you end the call, but there's that one thing that he knew was an issue that brought up and then he never calls you back, called the unknown objection, right? It's always a good thing to ask at the end of an interview. Hey, based on, my experiences, what we talked about, is there anything that you feel is maybe missing, a certification or something that's missing in my background that you really want someone to have for this role? And then you just pause for a sec. Just telling them like, hey, it's okay to tell me, because guys, people don't like telling people why they're not qualified, right? A lot of people have those problems. So if you handle it that way, it's light. Hey, I'm not gonna confront you over this, because what we need to do is somehow handle those concerns of theirs to make sure that we can move to forward rounds. The more you do, the more comfortable you get. That's everything in life. So I'm glad it's more relaxing because it's easier to communicate when you don't feel so much pressure on you and you do feel like it's conversational and you're not just asking all these boring behavioral questions, right? You have friends come and go, you have work, whatever. So how can I reestablish this relationship? Target those people. The third thing, people that you already know. A lot of people have been hired around people that already knows them. And here's another thing. Stephen Covey, right? 7 Habits of Highly Successful People says, seek to understand someone before trying to be understood. So that analogy for this is, where's this guy at? How's he been? Let me figure that out and try to reestablish some rapport before I start asking for something, whatever your ask is, and do that at the completion of the call. Sometimes you guys try to figure everything out and it gets so overwhelming. People need to be made aware of the severity of their problem. Most of the time, we can't tell someone they have a big problem. We can't tell someone about the growth potential if he did this. So how can we make people aware? We let it come from them. These thoughts don't need to rack our brain of everything just to see, hey, let's ask that question so we don't think about it for the next 3 hours. Hey, do you think it'd be valuable if we could find a way to partner with each other to help speed this along? Maybe he says no. Or if he says yes, great. Would you like to schedule a time so we could talk about how we might be able to partner? Let's talk with them and partner and collaborate and develop it together. Much bigger chance of success. Truly understand what people are saying to you. Get them to say what they need. Get them to say their challenges and ask follow-up questions so that they are aware, and then lead them down the way through storytelling. Remember, rejection sucks. It's welcome to the success club. That's my joke, right? Sometimes it's painful. Get your attention off of that as quickly as possible. Ever had a bad day? What happens if you stay inside your house? Drives me nuts. Christina's having a bad day. She's been in the house. I'm like, how long have you been in the house? I've been here all day. Oh my God, dude, get out of the house, man. You feel better. Just go on a walk down the block. Hang out with a friend. Call someone to help them. Get your mind off that rejection. Think about the positive things. Remember, the journey's tough. It should be tough, because here's what happens. If it comes easy, you don't value it. You don't. It sucks, but it's true.